Fresh off the Iron Bowl and Thanksgiving weekend, we're rocking and rolling right now. And people, I gotta say this. In the words of my man Travis Scott, don't you open up that window, because we got the antidote. One more time. Don't you open up that window, because, baby, we got the antidote. By antidote, I'm referring to nonstop Crimson Tide football information. You are locked and loaded on to the hottest show on the streets, #1 forum for Crimson Tide news. In my own words, with yours truly, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine on a Monday. Happy to see everybody tuning into the show on today. We got a lot to dive into. As always, the show brought to you by WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. That is WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. If you haven't done so, go ahead right now and copy you that four-finger bling necklace, four-finger bling jewelry, showing that support to Coach Saban, the University of Alabama program, the student athletes, and the dominance and tradition of the Crimson Tide owning that fourth quarter. So check them out. WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com, getting you that four-finger bling necklace today. We're bringing you the show from Tuscaloosa, streaming this to you from YouTube. Speaking of the channel, go ahead right now. Drop a thumbs up. Like the show up. Like it up right now. Give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on all of those notifications so that way you can have the best in alerts, coverage, and conversation on your Crimson Tide. Not only are we bringing this to you from YouTube, we also got you covered here, streaming this to Facebook, to all my Facebook people out there, and the Twitterverse as well for my Twitter family. So we got you covered here, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter for all things encompassing the show. We are in LSU week, ladies and gentlemen. Part 2 of LSU week. And this time around, the game will be played in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Tiger Stadium. On Saturday, CBS will have the call on the matchup. I believe it's 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time, but the matchup will be played this time around. And we want to hear from you today. Definitely want to get your thoughts, your concerns, your phone calls, your tweets, your chats. Want to hear from you, the most passionate fans of college football. 205-448-1358. The number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Gotta always salute my brother from another mother, Mr. John Ivory, in the production studio, doing his thing, laying down those smooth beats every time we do this show here. But we get into now. Topic number 1 here of the conversation, coming off a really good Iron Bowl, Alabama getting the 42-13 win. And the question is, are the days numbered for Steve Sarkisian as an offensive coordinator at Alabama? Are the days numbered for Sark as Alabama's OC, just based off how he performed in acting in replacement of Nick Saban as head coach and getting this impressive 42-13 Iron Bowl win? Are the days numbered for Sarkisian as an offensive coordinator for the Crimson Tide? And first and foremost, let me say this. I'm proud of Sark. 100% thrilled, happy, proud of the way Sarkisian performed here in the matchup. I know all week there must have been some nerves going through his mind. There must have been some jitters going through him, seeing how you're so used to having Coach Saban out there on the field, on the sideline, coaching, giving direction, giving orders, orchestrating the whole thing. He's been doing it for 14 years, kind of fancies himself as the Iron Man, never misses a game, never misses a moment. But Sarkisian got the opportunity to coach in place of Nick Saban, as Saban had the mild coronavirus symptoms there, on last week. But he prepared Sark for the moment. He spoke with Sark. He ran through the game plan, and he trusted the 46-year-old talented offensive coordinator to run the show. Now, a lot of people were nervous. A lot of people were nervous going to the Iron Bowl because it was like, Saban's not coaching, Saban's not here. Oh my gosh, what does this mean? Does this give Auburn an advantage? Does this give Auburn an edge because Coach Saban is not on the sideline? I'm nervous, I'm scared. And you had a lot of people nervous out there. Well, some people nervous out there, but Sarkisian immediately put those to bed with the first play of the game, a little pump and go from Mac Jones to Devontae Smith for a touchdown, 66-yard bomb there. And after that moment, people were like, Sark's got this. Calm down. Sarkisian's good. He's fine. He's money in the bag. He can get this done. And Steve Sarkisian definitely got it done. I mean, prior to the game, he probably had a bunch of text messages, phone calls, emails, voicemails, encouraging word messages. And then, after the game, he was probably hit with a lot of, way to go, man. You did it. We're proud of you. You did that thing. You represented. Coach Saban's proud, and Coach Saban was definitely proud as he sat at home, for the game. And, after the match, we got a chance to speak to the media and talked about how proud he was of everyone, including Steve Sarkisian. I remember on last week, to end last week's editions of shows on Friday, we had a call that mentioned how for Alabama, it's got to jump out to an early lead on Auburn, force them to play catch up, score the ball quick, score the ball efficiently, all of those things Sarkisian did. And the play design he had throughout the game was very, very strong when you talk about getting different people to pop here offensively. First and foremost, Mac Jones. And Mac came off his worst game statistically against Kentucky, but with Sarkisian, Jones bounced back with one of his better games in the Iron Bowl. 18 for 26 passing, 302 yards, had 5 touchdowns. his 5 scores, he's right there with Tua Tagovailoa and Gary Hollingsworth. Talking about a blast from the past there, Gary Hollingsworth. He's right there with Tagovailoa and Hollingsworth as the 3rd quarterback to toss for 5 touchdown passes in a single game. Jones also there with Tua as the 2nd Alabama quarterback in the history of Tide football to have 5 touchdown passes in the Iron Bowl. The 5 scores, a career high for Mac Jones. He had 2 of those to Devontae Smith, 2 of those to John Mechie, and 1 of those to Jaleel Billingsley at tight end. So coming off his worst game statistically against Kentucky, the game planning of Steve Sarkisian got Mac Jones going, got Mac Jones revved up, got him prepared, and it also doesn't hurt to have a little bit of added motivation, as one Bo Nix, Auburn quarterback, during the week of player interviews talked about, well, Mac's a great game manager. He does the right things. He manages the situations well. He gets the ball to the playmakers, taking those subtle shots there at Mac. But the duo of Sark and Mac got that thing stitched up and went out there and shredded an Auburn defensive secondary out there on the field. Along with Mac, Steve Sarkisian's game plan really helped Najee Harris. This was the 7th game this year where Najee had over 100 yards from scrimmage. Harris, 11 carries, 96 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, including the 39-yard burst to pay dirt he had for the score. He also had 2 receptions for 34 yards and all 130 yards from scrimmage. So Najee Harris showing you, I can run the ball tough in between the tackles. I can bounce plays outside. I can catch the ball out of the backfield. I can hurdle defenders. I am a complete running back. So Sark's game plan really helped out with Najee Harris. When you roll on down to Devontae Smith, self-explanatory. Smitty, 7 catches, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns. His 5th 100-yard game of a season, having an incredible year, and Sark was just finding so many different ways to get him the football, whether it was on deep routes, whether it was on post patterns, whether it was little bubble screens. He found different ways to get Smitty the ball in space and let him go to work. Coach Saban talked about today in speaking with the media, one of the cool things about Smitty is some receivers, they just know the X position. Some receivers just know the Z or the flanker position. Some receivers just know the H or the slot. With Devontae Smith, he knows every single position across the board at wide receiver, and you can manipulate him by putting him in many different spots to control the eyes of a defensive secondary. So Smitty there, a huge performance. John Mechie had a good game there from Sark's plan. 6 catches for 55 yards, 2 scores there from Mechie. And how about Jaleel Billingsley, the sophomore tight end from Chicago? Getting him to pop, getting more players to pop here is Steve Sarkisian. And for you as fans, you guys have been wondering, do we have that next tight end to put us in the mind of an O.J. Howard or an Irv Smith Jr.? Alabama is starting to develop that with Jaleel Billingsley against Kentucky. 3 catches for 78 yards. Came back against Auburn, 2 catches for 33 yards, including a 24-yard touchdown reception. So Sark is getting so many guys to pop, so many guys to flow, so many guys to have success offensively. And just this season, when you look at Mac Jones with Sark has Mac Jones, 2nd in the nation for completion percentage, 76.2%. Sark has Mac, 2,728 passing yards. That's 6th in college football. He's got Mac with 23 touchdown passes. That's tied for 5th in the country. He's got Mac with a 208 quarterback or 208 passer rating. That's 2nd in the country. He's also got Mac with a 95.5 QBR. That's 1st in college football. When you look at Najee Harris, 17 rushing touchdowns, 1st in college football. Devontae Smith, 72 receptions, 3rd in college football. 1,074 yards, 3rd in college football. 12 touchdowns. Smitty leads the country in that respect. And Smitty, the 4th wide receiver in the history of the Alabama football program with multiple 1,000-yard campaigns, joining Jerry Jeudy, Amari Amari Cooper, and DJ Hall. Steve Sarkisian has been a lot here, this program, in these last 2 years. And the question is, will Alabama be able to hold on to him for the long haul? Because a lot of people, a lot of national eyes saw that game. Not just national eyes in college football, but national eyes in the NFL. They saw that performance that Sark put on, and in their mind, they're going, he can still do it. He can still coach a whole team. He can still run a whole program. He can still orchestrate the whole gamut here. And there are going to be a lot of suitors here in college football and maybe even in the NFL in the offseason that will ring Sark's phone, and look at him and go, Sark, Coach Saban doesn't really want you for real, man. Coach Saban don't need you for real, Sark. Like, Coach Saban can hit one button and the very next coach, the very next big-time coach will come to Alabama. They won't miss a beat because they're Alabama. Sark, we need you more than our next puff of air. Sark, we need you more than that girl at the club that want that man so badly. I got to shoot my shot. He's so fine. I got to shoot my shot. Sark, we need you more than that brother at the club that sees the baddest woman in a sundress and he like, woo, baby, I got to holler at her and shoot my shot because I can't get that past me by. We need you, Sark, more than that. You're going to have a lot of people, a lot of teams that are going to make offers to Sarkeesian in the offseason just due to how he has performed here for the Crimson Tide. I mean, I know he signed a 3-year extension worth $7.5 million back on August 5th. I know he did. And in his heart of hearts, Sark wants to remain here. Sark wants to be here. And it would be really, really interesting. But it's going to be something because Sark's got value now. He's got big value, high value. And when you look at the coaches that have come through Nick Saban's coaching rehab here, Lane Kiffin, the biggest success story of the rehab. At first, people thought Kiffin not going to work, Kiffin too controversial. Kiffin doesn't, meet the Bama standard, doesn't meet the Bama requirement. But he came in here. He revolutionized the offense. He started winning. He started producing. He started bringing the program championships. He started, producing Heisman winners and Biletnikoff Award winners. And the moment you started to give your heart to Kiffin, he goes off to Florida Atlantic. Now he's back in the SEC with Ole Miss. The same thing for Mike Locksley. The same thing for Dan Enos. The same thing for guys like Josh Gaddis. They came to the coaching rehab. They were huge in what they did, whether it was offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, passing game coordinator, wide receivers coach, whatever they did. They came in, they served a purpose, they were elite, they got players to pop, they made the Crimson Tide better in a lot of areas, and the players really bought into them. And the moment you started to give your heart toward that coach, they took another job. They took another job and went elsewhere, and you're like, man, I really like that coach. Dang, I really like that coach. Man, that guy was cool. I mean, why could Alabama not keep that guy around? So we're in the same situation now with Steve Sarkisian. A lot of people look at him as the coach in waiting for the Tide. I would like to see him stick around, absolutely, not just in calling the offense, but maybe even take over for Coach Saban once he chooses to call it a career. Now, as of right now, I still see Sark coaching. I still see Sark at least 2 to 3 more years, especially with him working with Bryce Young and working with Paul Tyson and trying to get one of those 2 guys to pop here at the quarterback position. But are Sarkeesian's days numbered as the OC for the Crimson Tide based off his performance in the Iron Bowl? Just something to think about right there. We take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. Just getting started. Upon our return, we get to your phone calls, your thoughts, your questions, your concerns, your chats, your dialogue. We're talking Bama with you guys after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, folks, we are back in from the break on a Monday. Hottest show on the streets, number one forum for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, fresh off the Iron Bowl, LSU week, Tide will play the Tigers this weekend at Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And before we get to your phone calls, call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang. We got a couple of super chats to shout out here. First off, Jimmy Clay. Appreciate Jimmy Clay dropping in that $20 donation there, helping us out at TDA. And also Joshua Benjamin throwing in that $5 via the super chat. So appreciate those two gentlemen showing us some love here on the show. 205-448-1358. The number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. Ring those phone lines. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang. We take our first call of the evening. You're live on the show. What's going on?
What a wonderful Monday it is after seeing the Cow College get beat on Saturday. I tell you what, Steve. Wait a minute, Ed. Let me talk. Let me talk to Steve. Wait a minute. I'm talking right now. Shut up. Anyway, Stephen, I don't know how you thought about the ball game down there Saturday, but it sure looked good to me there. We want to say one thing before you get started right there. Sarah Fuller from Vandy. She made history there Saturday when she kicked the kickoff there. I'm proud of her. So I hope she gets to kick the rest of the year. Kicks all the way in the NFL and gets a big pocket full of money. What's going on at TDA?
Going good, Wagon. Going good. Proud of Sarah. She did a great job out there for Vanderbilt. I was happy that they gave her the opportunity, and she kicked it pretty well. She kicked it pretty good. Ball didn't go out of bounds, so very good for her to make that history for her, to make that history for women everywhere, and in terms of making that history for Vanderbilt as well. So very proud of what Sarah was able to go out there and do. And just getting back to the Iron Bowl, I mean, Steve Sarkisian coming out there, leading those young men out of a tunnel, coaching in replacement of Saban out there on the field. And there were moments in that game, Wagon, if you watched it, even some of Sark's mannerisms down to the slow clap. He even got Saban's slow hand clap down, Pat.
Yeah, he was looking good, but you know how? I don't know. You know, I don't think he's going to leave Alabama next year. I don't know. He might get a head coaching job, but he got a few more hurdles to jump there before he. I don't know. Maybe he'll stay around. We'll find out and see. But Coach Edo has been wanting to talk to you for a long time now. Have you ever interviewed him?
I have not interviewed Coach O, but it appears that we got Coach O on the show right now.
Well, he took the phone. I took the phone away from Waylon, so I've been seeing you up on the Paul Feinbaum show. You've been talking a whole lot here on this YouTube channel about Alabama coming down. We didn't play Alabama, ducked them because we had the Roni. Well, y'all can't come down here Saturday night and give us the Roni back because we don't want it. So y'all stay up there in Tuscaloosa and don't give us the Roni no more and stay on Paul Feinbaum show. Hey, shut up. Anyway, I got two things to say. One team, one heartbeat. Two team on the field, let's battle, and go Tigers. I see you later, Steven. You see what I'm dealing with.
I see what you're doing. Hey, Wagon, you got some trouble on your hands, man. Control Edo. I see what you're dealing with, Wagon. Hey, get Edo under control. We appreciate it, though.
Phone away. Get off here, Ed. Hello, everybody in the chat. Bye.
And Wagon dealing with Ed Ogeron, right? Crazy right there. We take our second call of the night. You're live within my own words. What's going on?
Hey, Steve. Well, that Coach O was an imposter. I understood everything he said, so I know for a fact that wasn't Coach O on the phone. I know for a fact. You can test me. You can check, run the replay back. That wasn't Coach O. Everybody understood exactly what he was saying. So whoever that imposter was, Waylon, you can let it go. What's up, brother?
We got the man, Senator Hines, on the line right now. What's going on, Senator?
Good, man. I'm ready to get this round 2 of our hopefully this year we'll get 4 rounds of revenge, man. We get to see LSU this week. We already got Auburn last week. We might get to see if Ohio State ends up playing enough games, they're going to get into the playoffs. We might have to see them in the first round. And then if Clemson gets out the second round, if they beat Notre Dame and in a conference championship, they'll be in the playoffs too. So we'll get 4 rounds of revenge. And if that happens, Coach Saban retired, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just playing. I ain't gonna do that to the fans. The fans probably they probably about to freak out right now. Coach Saban
they coming at you, man, with pitchforks and torches. You better duck.
Hey, I know, man. But I'm feeling so good about our defense, man. We talked on the after show call in and the after game call in, and just I'm impressed at how disciplined and how assignment sound our defense played. Gus did not hold back any play calling. He never does. He threw it at us. I think the worst play we got beat on really was a drop pass by Seth Williams. That was a bust, but I don't believe that would have happened again because we had the same coverage we beat. We had the same coverage set up, and the safety got beat the same way. So I don't think that was happening again, especially with the way our secondary's been playing. They make small mistakes. They make up for them big. But also the reverse play was probably the biggest rushing play that they had early in the game. They had ran the reverse play. So I just was so impressed at how assignment sound we were. And my guy Braden in the chat was asking me to speak on Dylan Moses. Dylan Moses didn't play trash this past weekend. He didn't play trash, but he still wasn't exciting. He wasn't Dylan from 2 years ago. One thing I did say, he was not making a lot of calls and different things on the defensive side, which allowed him to be in place on a lot of plays. It was a couple of times I felt like he should have just tore Bo Nick's freaking head off when he was freed up to chase him out of the pocket. But he played a decent game, Steven. He wasn't a liability this game, and that's good to see because that's a confidence builder. You did that against a rivalry team. Now you get to go against a team that was recruiting you since you was a freshman in high school. And if everybody knows that backstory about Dylan, LSU was on him early. I think 8th grade or 9th grade year they were expressing interest in Dylan Moses. So for him to be able to go and finish his last year off, regular season wise, not regular season, but his last year as a senior in LSU in Baton Rouge, his family gonna be there. It's gonna be big. I think LSU game now is rescheduled. I think he's gonna take advantage of this opportunity. How big, how much, not sure. I still haven't seen that fired. But and your boy Christian Barmore, oh my God. Them dudes up front, all 7, 8, 9 of them dudes we rotate, all them guys is acting a fool right now. I think it's because we didn't have those cupcake games to warm up with this year that we were kind of anxious to see where the defense was going. We were kind of impatient. But this is only the 8th game of the season. This is usually when teams are locked in for what they're going to be. They establish their identity the last 5 to 6 games of the season. So 7 games in, 8 games in, our defense is playing lights out. And I'm just happy to be a Alabama Crimson Tide freaking crazy fan, man. I love this football team, man. I love watching them play every Saturday, bro. And just being a fan of TDA, being able to call in, man. You make this you make following Alabama football even much more interesting. You, Justin, just the whole staff up there, man. I appreciate what you're doing, Stephen.
Absolutely. Appreciate the call, Miss Senador, man. Take it easy, my man. We got the next caller in the queue. Appreciate that from Senador. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, Stephen. Hey, this is Robert from Mobile.
We got Robert on the line. What's going on with you?
Hey, I agree with Senator. That definitely couldn't be Orgeron. We could definitely understand what he said way too well. So, yeah, nice try, but you can't fool us. Hey, I heard Nick Saban's interview today, and one of the reporters asked him about, the game last season and, the revenge factor. And normally Nick Saban wouldn't pay it much mind or just downplay it, but he didn't this time. He treated it as a serious consideration, and and he mentioned being disrespected. That lets us all know this is going to be a thorough butt whooping that we haven't seen in quite a while for LSU. For LSU, the team's going to be dialed in on it.
I mean, absolutely. You are 100% right on that, Robert, because normally Coach Saban would play that close to the vest. He would not give an in-depth answer. But because he did, and the sentence in particular where he said, I would not use this as a revenge game, but the players, could I see the players and other individuals use it as revenge? Absolutely. So he even knows that the players saw how LSU celebrated Bryant Denny last year, how, Ed Orgeron and his profanity-laced statement in the locker room. Saban knows that the players saw that, and he's ready to go and get this win at Tiger Stadium like the players are. Robert, we appreciate you calling in, though, my man. We take our next call here on the show. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey.
How you doing?
Good. How you?
I'm good. What's on your mind?
Hey, this is JG from Grant, Alabama. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic, JG. How you feeling?
Good. You think Alabama's going to win this week?
I think Alabama going to win this week against LSU. Yes, I think Alabama going to win this week.
We're going to crush them.
You know what? I like your spirit, man. I like your spirit. Keep listening to us, okay?
Thank you.
Absolutely. Love the kids, man. We take another call here on the show. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Good evening, Stephen. It's Kevin from Georgia. How you doing this evening?
Doing good, Kevin. How you feeling?
Pretty good, pretty good. 2 points, Stephen. One is in reference to when you were speaking about the 4 previous assistant coaches. The 4 that you had listed, 2, if they could do it all over again, would not have left Alabama when they left, and that's Enos and Gaddis. And
absolutely.
As far as Gaddis is concerned, I believe that he will, he may need to sharpen up that resume, because I don't think he's going to be there much longer, simply because I don't think that at worst, or I take that back, at best, Harbaugh may be in Michigan for another year, and that's it. And then as far as when it comes to the game Saturday, I'm mixed emotion about it. I mean, I understand as far as, okay, LSU came to the house, disrespected the house, and, hey, you got to, pay back as far as someone that disrespect your home. But the only team that has something to gain from this game as far as Saturday is LSU, because LSU is the clock is ticking. When it comes to recruiting, because the one thing I can't get out of my mind, Stephen, as far as when the young man from Lafayette Christian, as far as Ryan, at his conference, it just appeared that it just pained him to say, I'm committing to LSU. Forget as far as all the family connections. It just seemed like a part of him wanted to say, okay, hey, bump as far as all the family connections. I need to go where my heart is, and for the next 3 to 4 years, I need to go to the University of Alabama. So I believe as far as when it comes to recruiting this weekend, LSU has to compete this weekend, because if not, those Final Four spots won't get filled as far as in their recruiting class.
I agree with that. I mean, you're already seeing after a loss to Alabama in the Iron Bowl, one of the top running backs in the class, Armani Goodwin, has just decommitted from Auburn. So with that being said, you look at what could his next move be, and we'll have Justin Smith to talk about that at some point. But absolutely, man, see that point right there. Appreciate the call, man. Thanks for that. Keep listening to us. We're going to go straight to the topic right now. Appreciating you guys calling in to the show tonight, 205-448-1358. The number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. And how about Christian Harris right now? Christian Harris, a semifinalist for the Dick Butkus Award, which goes to the nation's top linebacker in the country. And Harris having a big-time season now. The crazy thing here is, coming into the year, we all kind of had Dylan Moses in this spot to be the number one, linebacker for this team and the number one linebacker in the country. But I was having a conversation with John Ivory over the summer. John Ivory is not only a guy that does a great job in the production studio, but he is also a football savant, people. Don't let the music fool you. John Ivory is a football savant. I was having a conversation with John. John literally told me, Steven, I don't think Dylan Moses is going to snap this year for real, man. I think he's going to be good as far as putting the players in the right spot and leading the players in the right position on the field. But as far as him just snapping and making big plays and just going out there just doing it, I don't think Dylan going to snap like that, bro. I mean, I think Christian Harris going to snap. I don't think Dylan going to snap. And I got to give him credit because John Ivory was right. I got to give him credit. John Ivory called it. I mean, Dylan Moses not having a bad year, but Christian Harris definitely having a much better year in terms of his production consistently. And right now, the Dick Butkus Foundation is seeing it also as the sophomore from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, has been named as a semifinalist for the Dick Butkus Award. So congratulations to one Christian Harris, and kudos to one John Ivory. You called it, brother. You called it from the production studio. We take another break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, we get into Alabama's defense, some players that you guys felt like in the preseason would be big-time factors. These guys are starting to step up. Who are those players I'm referring to? We'll talk the Alabama defense after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now, you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your four-finger bling necklace right now at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, people, we are in here on a Monday, fresh off the Iron Bowl, fresh off Thanksgiving weekend or Thanksgiving holiday. Alabama will take on LSU this weekend at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But you're rocking and rolling here on In My Own Words, the hottest show on the streets, number one forum for Crimson Tide football news with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And we're getting to now Crimson Tide defense. And there were players in the preseason that a lot of you circled, you highlighted, you underlined, you put a star by these guys. You thought in the preseason, these will be players that will be monsters. These will be players that will be dominant. These will be players that will be physical creatures that wreak havoc on the opposing team. These will be players that there will be impact guys. When you circle this particular player, you win. He's going to be good. He's going to be a beast. He's going to be dynamic. Got to see him. Want to see him. And of the players that we all discussed, talked about in the offseason, whether it was the spring, whether it was the summer, fall camp, some of those names that we circled have started to come to life and show you that they are the real deal. Now, of course, not having a spring practice and how weird this season is due to the coronavirus pandemic, not having a spring practice, not having those workouts, not having the A-Day game, not having the team meetings, even not having a real, workout session during the summer, though it did have, the in-person voluntary workout program, and then having a fall camp that was not your traditional fall camp. Despite all the crazy things thrown at the team this year, you are now starting to see some of those guys that you circle in preseason as impact players. They are starting to show up and show out here for this team. And the first one that comes to mind is Christian Barmore. Christian Barmore was one of those guys everybody circled, especially after the way he performed last year in limited action. 26 tackles, 6 tackles for loss a season ago. I believe he had 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hurries. I mean, he was energy, production, fierce, big-time player. The one concern we kind of had coming into the season would be, his discipline and gap assignment. Could he take the next level and show him a discipline in the gap assignment and stopping the run, just do his job? He was so focused last year on got to make a big play, got to create energy, got to have the fans jumping up and down, got to do that type of thing. And even though he made a lot of big plays last year, there were times where, he just needed to focus on doing his job. So that was the one concern people had on Barmore coming into the season. But this year, he has played well. 18 tackles for the young man, 3.5 tackles for loss here, 3 sacks, 3 pass breakups, 5 quarterback hurries. He's been everywhere. In the Iron Bowl, he had Bo Nix running for his life. There was one play in the game, though. I'm like, Christian, how is it that you and DJ Dell, y'all both have Bo Nix in the end zone sacked for a safety, and you let him do a Johnny Manziel Houdini on both of you, and he escaped both of y'all and picked up 8 yards. That was my only thing with Christian Barmore. He played well in the entire game on last week, but I'm just like, my mind is in left field going, you got 2 300-pound dudes coming right at Bo Nix, and he gets away from both of them. But I'm pretty sure, Barmore's teammates and the coaching staff had a slight little chuckle about that, but the young man is having a big season, especially in these last few games here. Moving on down to Christian Harris. Christian Harris is having a big year, y'all. Christian Harris is having the big year, leading the team in tackles this season. One of the leaders here in tackles for loss on the team. I know in the Iron Bowl he had a chance at an interception. He kind of batted the ball away from him as if he was practicing self-defense. And Jordan Battle was just like, no, bro, that was your pick. Why did you bat the ball down? And all you saw was Christian Harris's face buried in the ground because he knew he had a chance to create a turnover right there. But Christian Harris is having a good year. Strong year, solid year. And I mentioned this before. Due to the injury that happened to Dylan Moses last year, he didn't get a chance to play at all in 2019. Christian Harris has a bit more experience than Dylan when you look at a Pete Golding ran defense. So Christian Harris having a strong year. Another guy, and here is somebody that coming in, she was kind of a sleeper in a sense. Like, not a lot of people really talked about this guy. Not a lot of people really gave this brother his respect. Not a lot of people felt like he would be one of the starters here on this defense. But he's become the unsung leader in the pass rush game, the unsung leader tackles for loss, the unsung leader, or one of the unsung leaders, quarterback hurries, and that's Christopher Allen. Chris Allen has had a gem of a year, and to me, I think he could potentially be the steal of a draft when it comes to Alabama players. I think Christopher Allen can potentially be the steal of the draft. A NFL team is going to look at him between the 3rd and the 4th round and go, I like this guy. He's tough. He's big at 6'4", 250. He's physical. He can set the edge. He can stuff the run. He's improved his quickness. He's got a lot of length, a lot of arm, a lot of leverage. He's got big hands. and he can affect the passing game. Christopher Allen this year, 9 tackles for loss leads the team, 4 sacks leads the team, 4 quarterback hurries. He has just been really, really active this year, and he got the Iron Bowl started for the defense with a sack of one Bo Nix. So Christopher Allen, big season this year, going from kind of being an unsung guy to an individual that has grown in confidence, has a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, but has grown in confidence. He now believes he can be a disruptor in the backfield, having a big year. Behind Christopher Allen, Will Anderson. Will Anderson is having a big season. Here's another one that you guys circled in the offseason. You circled him and you were like, you know what? This guy reminds me of Tim Williams. You know what? This guy, if he can really hit his potential, I don't want to throw Derek Thomas out there. A lot of us were like, we don't want to throw Derek Thomas out there because DT is in his own, he's in his own league. He's in his own entity. He's in his own category by himself. But Will Anderson's got that type of ability to where if he hones in on it, if he hits his ceiling, if he hits his potential, there's an opportunity there for him to go down as one of the greatest outside linebackers, one of the greatest pass rushers to ever play for the Crimson Tide. And last week, got his first career sack. Now, he's been close all season. The brother should honestly have about 13 sacks. He's always been a foot away from the quarterback, an inch away from the quarterback. He's always been right there, but just can't quite bring the man to the ground. He's been so close all year. But against Auburn, got it done. Got to Bo Nix, finished the play, first sack of the year. He gets back up. He's celebrating. Fidarian Mathis is jumping up and down with him. Christian Barmore jumping up and down with him because once you get that first sack as a freshman, it's like that movie Waiting to Exhale. Once you get that first sack, you can finally exhale. And then you can go and just play lights out football. Big ups to the Will Anderson. Anderson this season, 4.5 tackles for loss. He does have the sack, 27 tackles on the season. He leads the team with 8 quarterback hurries, Will Anderson is. Now, another guy right here that you guys had circled was Tim Smith. How about the freshman Tim Smith out of Sebastian River, Florida? Out of Sebastian River High School in Sebastian, Florida. So Tim Smith right here is having a strong season thus far as a freshman. I know they're bringing him in to the rotation, but the last few games when he's got in there, he has made a major impact, whether it's a huge tackle for loss, whether it's a forced fumble. He too got in the backfield and frustrated Bo Nix, had him on the run a couple of times there in the matchup. So Tim Smith, somebody that's one of those creatures starting to step up. You're starting to see him more. And then you go over secondary where you pick up Malachi Moore and Brian Branch. Malachi Moore and Brian Branch. And we had a caller on the post-game show over the weekend, and he literally said Moore and Branch are like Minkah Fitzpatrick and Eddie Jackson reincarnated. And as much as I wanted to say, whoa, hold on now. Money Minkah was Money Minkah for a reason. Eddie Pick Six Jackson was Eddie Pick Six Jackson for a reason. Now, I love Malachi. I love me some Brian Branch. But let's not throw the Money Minkah and the Eddie Pick Six Jackson comparisons out here a little too quickly. But the more I thought about it, I thought Malachi does play with Minkah Fitzpatrick's instincts. You go back and you watch the Iron Bowl where he cut in front of Anthony Schwartz to make his 3rd interception of the season. That's a lot like Minkah. The only area that Malachi has to continue to develop in is when the Tide sends him on a blitz, he's got to get home. Because that's what Minkah did. When the Tide sent Minkah Fitzpatrick on a blitz, Minkah hit home every time, put the quarterback on his butt. So that's the area where Malachi's got to develop a bit more, is when he comes on the blitz, get home. But aside from that, you see a lot of Minkah tendencies in Malachi. And Brian Branch got his first career interception. And when you watch him play, he's kind of got the Eddie Jackson-like range. But once again, these two guys have to continue to grow, have to continue to improve and develop, but the potential to be the reincarnation of Minkah Fitzpatrick and Eddie Jackson is right there. It's right there for Malachi Moore and one Brian Branch. But very proud of both of those two individuals and all of these players for the Crimson Tide that we circled in the offseason as big-time impact players. It's taken a minute. It's taken a few games, but it's taken some games, but we're starting to see some of these players that we circled, that we highlighted, that we were really intrigued and excited about. They are starting to show up and show out here on the defensive side of the football. We take another break now on the show. Don't touch that dial, because when we get back, we return to the phone lines to entertain your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your texts, your chats, and concerns. We're talking Bama with you, the Tide Nation, after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit weownthefourthquarter.com now to get your four-finger bling necklace. You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your four-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, folks, we are back in from the break here on the number one ticket for Crimson Tide football news, In My Own Words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine on a Monday. Encouraging you guys to like the show up, like it up, give it a thumbs up, and hit that subscribe button and turn on all of those notifications so that way you can have the best in news, notes, alerts here on your Crimson Tide. But as you're getting your thoughts together for the call segment, 205-448-1358. The number to call in, 205-448-1358. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Winch Gang. I want to get into a conversation right now on Pete Golding to start this off. Pete Golding has improved defensively this season. He's improved, and he's in a much better situation now than what he was, say, a little over a month ago, back on October 10th. And on October 10th, Pete Golding was in a very bad spot right there, because coming off the Ole Miss game where Alabama gave up 48 points and 647 yards offensively to an unranked team. A lot of you were like, he's way over his head. This is not the guy that Alabama needs running this defense. Got to have a grown-up in the room. You got to have somebody with a lot more experience doing this at bigger programs. Pete Golding was in a tough spot. But since then, he's improved. His defense has improved. This group is playing at a much higher level. And I understand for a lot of you but Stephen, Alabama still hasn't been challenged yet for real. We still haven't faced, an elite quarterback, for real this season. We still haven't faced an elite offense. I will save my judgment of Pete Golding until the Florida game, because that's where the elite offense is going to happen with Kyle Trask at quarterback and the pieces around him. And I understand that. But what kind of gets on my nerves is when you bring some praise toward Golding and it's like, Pete Golding? What has he done? He hadn't improved his defense. Nick Saban Ben took the keys from Pete Golding. This Charlie Strong defense. This Charles Kelly defense. Pete Golding ain't doing nothing. That Pete Golding defense, that Ole Miss game. That was Pete Golding defense. That Ole Miss game was Pete Golding. Ever since that Ole Miss game, it's been Charles Kelly defense. It's been Charlie Strong defense. Pete Golding ain't done anything to help improve his defense. It's like we can give praise to Kirby Smart when he was here. When Kirby Smart was at Alabama, we hammered him when he messed up. Oh, we hammered him when he messed up. When he wasn't getting down with the get down, we beat him over the head with it. Kirby, tighten up, bro. Tighten up. You ain't doing it right. Tighten up. But when Kirby was doing what he was supposed to do, we came back and praised Kirby Smart. It's the same thing with Jeremy Pruitt. When Jeremy Pruitt wasn't doing his thing, Jeremy, you ain't doing it, son. You ain't doing it, son. Hey, Jeremy, you better get right, bro. Hey, what you doing? What you doing, man? But when Jeremy got it right, we were like, all right, Jeremy Pruitt defense. That's that Pruitt defense. That's Jeremy Pruitt right there. So my thing here is we have not been shy from criticizing Pete Golding, but when Pete Golding's actually improving, where is the praise toward Pete Golding? Where is the positivity toward Pete Golding as he's improving? But before I finish my point here, we take a call right now. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
What's going on, Steven? It's Justin Riley, brother.
Justin, what's happening with you?
Man, I'm enjoying a Iron Bowl victory, my friend. I am really excited to see what I saw this past Saturday. You know, the offense did their thing, but what I really enjoyed the most was the defense. Just seeing the confidence come to these young men. Their body language was different. They were playing like killers, man, and they are playing with great fundamentals. Hardly any missed tackles. I mean, if there were any, I couldn't tell you when they happened, but it was just amazing just to see that defense week after week starting to build their confidence, starting to grow. And yes, I am one of those people who've been heavily criticizing Pete Golding, and it looks like he is starting to turn this defense around. And yes, we haven't been tested by an elite quarterback yet, but what I like to see is improvements, and that's what's been happening.
It has. Improvement's been happening. Improvement's been strong. I would just like to see, from the Alabama football faithful, when Pete Golding's doing well, let him hear it. Hey, Pete, you're doing well. You're doing better. You're doing better. If you can do that for Kirby Smart, if you can do that for Jeremy Pruitt, just would like to see some positive reinforcement from the fans when it comes to Pete Golding. But Justin, we appreciate the call. Keep listening to us.
Always, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Just want to see some positive reinforcement for Pete Golding. We take a call right now on the show. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Stephen M. Smith, you're on fire tonight, sir. Great job tonight.
I appreciate that, Spencer. I just want to see some positive reinforcement toward Coach Golding. That's all. And I know this season starting off, it's not what everybody thought it was. It's not what everybody thought it would be, in the weirdness of this year. But despite all of it, you're looking at a coach that has improved this defense, and he's coaching it a lot better. These guys are playing a lot better. They're not thinking as hard. They're not thinking as much. They're going out there reading and reacting to the ball. They're making plays. They're forcing turnovers, for crying out loud, and they're scoring off those turnovers. I would just like to see a little bit more from the fans. When Pete's doing well, hey, let Pete know. Hey, you're doing well, man.
That's why I'm calling in, sir, to eat my crow. I was one of the first ones to call in after the Ole Miss game, saying one of the cheerleaders could call a better game than what he did against Ole Miss. So I'm eating my crow now. He has proved himself well. They've got better and better and better. And the game he called against Auburn was excellent. There was a couple of busts, but I don't think that was his fault. I think that was the player's fault.
Spencer, you are one of the ones that will at least admit, hey, maybe I overreacted, but you know what? He's improving, he's doing better, and looking to see him continue to progress. But as always, Spencer, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for the call.
Hey, can I throw in one quick question?
Go ahead.
Okay, one quick question I'm worried about is Najee got rolled up on and they kept having to work on him going to the sideline. Then he busts off a touchdown run with both ankles wrapped up. Have you heard anything on Najee?
Najee is fine. I haven't heard anything that has been a problem or an issue. So I know Najee Harris is fine. I haven't heard any issues with him.
A lot of people waiting.
Absolutely. Appreciate that call coming in there from Spencer. Just want to see some positive reinforcement there for Pete Golden. We take another call right now. You're live on the show. What's going on? Live on the show, caller. What's going on? Looks like we lost that caller there. But continuing the topic here on Pete Golden, just want to see some positive reinforcement here. Like I said, when Kirby Smart was here, when Kirby was dominant, we praised Kirby. When Kirby, was messing up, we let Kirby know he was messing up. The same thing with Jeremy Pruitt. And it's just when Pete Golding messes up, we hit him over the head with it. But when he's improving as he has been, it's like, well, this ain't Pete Golding defense. This ain't Pete Golding's defense. This is somebody else's defense. It's Charlie Strong. It's Charles Kelly. Pete Golding is not running this defense. Well, Charles Kelly is assisting, right? He's on the field assisting, absolutely. Charlie Strong is up in the box giving a lot of wisdom on that side of the ball, that he is. But it's Pete Golding that's on the field with the headset on, talking with players, checking back and forth, seeing, okay, what are you seeing here, man? What are you seeing here, guy? What are you seeing there? Okay, let's adjust right here. Pete Golding is actually out there doing that. But we take a call right now. You're live on the show. What's going on?
What's going on, Steve? Calling from Demopolis.
What's going on with you?
Not much. I was calling back. I called last week. Oh, my bad. Hello?
We're right here. We're right here with you. We're right here.
Oh, yeah, I was calling to see the gang up.
Looks like we lost that caller. Couldn't quite. He was going in and out. Looks like we lost that caller. But to end my point here, Golden has improved here. The first 3 games of the season, he gave up 91 points, an average of 30.3 points per game. He gave up, over 400 yards of offense in those 3 games. Alabama did 473. The third down, Alabama was giving up a 50.4% conversion rate on third down to opponents. And it gave up, 150.7 yards rushing per game, despite forcing 4 turnovers. Now, in the last 5 games, Pete Golding and his defense giving up a little over 11 points a game, just a little over 11, which is better than the 30.3. It's given up just 288.4 yards offensively, better than the 473. It's given up a third down conversion rate of 30.4, which is better than the 50.4 from the first 3 games. It's forced 10 turnovers, 3 of those returned for touchdowns, and it's given up just 100 yards rushing per game. So we see the improvement there from Pete Golding. All I want moving forward, if we are going to critique Pete Golding, as we should, U.S. fans, I myself and the media, when he does well, come behind him with some positive reinforcement for the man, because as the 36-year-old defensive coordinator, he is getting better with this group. We got a couple of super chats to shout out here right now. Senator Hines dropping in that $5 with the super chats. Appreciate that from Senator. And Roll Tide and Rise Up putting in that $5 as well. We appreciate that from Roll Tide and Rise Up. We take a break right now on the show, but upon our return, we'll get into the prayer for college football. What is the prayer for college football in terms of the Crimson Tide? We'll dive into that after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to STSFootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to STSFootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, people, we are back in from the break on the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news. It's in my own words with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciating everybody for writing in, chatting in, texting in, calling in, letting your voice be heard on today's show as we are fresh off the Iron Bowl and Thanksgiving holiday weekend. And LSU on the slate this week here for the Crimson Tide at Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana on this weekend. And as always, be sure to give a thumbs up, like the show up, like it up, give a thumbs up on the show, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on so that way you can have the best in news, notes, and alerts on your Crimson Tide. But before we get into the final time calling plays, and he can really have fun stressing out defensive coordinators, and he can really have fun with what he wants to bring to the table, because he's always been about how many threats can we get on the field at one time to where we become unguardable, we become unbeatable, we become undefendable, if that's even a word. If it's not, I'm going to coin it right now. So that's the question here for Crimson Tide fans moving forward. Can it get that second vertical deep threat receiver to pop? And the prayer for college football is, Jesus, please do not let Alabama get that third vertical, that number 2 vertical deep threat receiver to pop, because, I mean, we're already having to deal with Devontae Smith. Bama gets another one. I don't see who can stop this program from going all the way to win a national championship. So the prayer for college football is for Alabama not to get a second deep threat, but for Alabama and Steve Sarkisian, it's looking to find that number 2 vertical target. But as always, Tide Nation, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage here on your favorite program. It's very easy to access this. You can download this by getting the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You can download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you have the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you right here. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. Got you covered here. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Wednesday, continuing the conversation that is Bama football. Remember, Tide fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. Also, be sure to copy that 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. That's WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. That link will be in the description as well. But until next time, folks, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands, children, school back in. Continue doing those things legitimately now to not be bored. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself, protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, spend in my own words.